Morning TikTok. Today is my 36th birthday. Please help me get my daughter's case in front of the United States Supreme Court by watching to the end of this video. 2 years ago, on August 31st, 2023, I received the first phone call of several from 7 eyewitnesses who saw my daughter subjected to cruel and unusual punishment by her special education teacher. So my daughter was put in this device right here. They called it the Roundy Round. What it really is a 48-inch carpeted space divider that you're supposed to use to divide off sections of the classroom with. But as you can see, it can be coiled up into a small circle. And my daughter, between kindergarten and second grade, she was placed in that thing over 600 times, sometimes up to 20 to 30 minutes at a time, 5 to 10 times a day by the special education teacher. Now, according to the eyewitnesses, all the children were illegally restrained and secluded in this classroom, but out of all the children, my daughter got the worst physical, verbal, and emotional abuse out of all children in the class. Now, prior coming to me, the 7 eyewitnesses talked to multiple principals, multiple teachers, multiple staff members, and eventually got all the way up to the superintendent of the school district to report this teacher. The school district decided to have an internal investigation. They let none of us parents know about it. And after the internal investigation, every single person that reported this teacher was either fired, resigned, or transferred. And this right here is a copy of the appeal after the investigation came about. This is the eyewitnesses saying that, hey, they just don't agree with how the investigation went, nor the results of the investigation, because the results of the investigation was that the teacher stayed on and everybody who reported her was fired, transferred, or forced to resign. Now, if you're wondering why weren't the police involved, why didn't they tell me earlier, well, you can hear all of these guys' eyewitness testimony from themselves. I recorded all of it. I saved all of it. I documented everything, and I've preserved it up until this point. And you can read them or listen to them all with the link in the bio, mercyformaya.com. The school district set up this elaborate system where the eyewitnesses, they were not allowed to tell the parents what was going on. So they had these things called communication folders. And if you have a child who's special needs, you know about communication folders. When you have communication folders, they're supposed to communicate what happened during that day. Well, in my daughter's communication folder, they were only allowed to write good things. And I remember even bringing that up in an IEP meeting, like, man, Maya's having a good day every day, which I always thought was odd. But it turns out something was wrong. And you can go and listen to every single one of these guys. They'll tell you about how, we reported to DHS, but nothing was done. We reported to a principal, but nothing was done. Many of us were afraid to lose our jobs. You can hear all these guys talk about it there at the link in my bio, www.mercyformaya.com. Also important to note before I leave this part of the story, but none of the EAs in the 2 years that my daughter went to that school, none of the eyewitnesses, the educational assistants, the people who worked in the classroom saw my daughter's IEP, individual educational plan, which every kid who is, in a special education class is required to have. So the people who were working with my daughter on a day-to-day basis for 2 years, they never saw the IEP. They have no idea what was written in it. Now, when I first found out about what happened with my daughter, the first thing I went to do was to hire a lawyer. And I found a lawyer, and there was this lawyer in town that everybody said was really good, you should use him. This lawyer has experience suing this school district, which I thought was odd because I don't live in a big city. Eugene, Oregon is not big outside of the University of Oregon and the Olympic trials and stuff. Like, there's nothing major here. And so this isn't a big city. And so I thought it was odd that there was this lawyer who had a reputation for suing the school district for these type of things. But I had never heard of them. Well, it turned out I organized a protest back in October 2023 about what happened, when I found out what happened. And one of the people who showed up had actually used the lawyer. Like I had, like, the day before the protest, I had the check in hand. I was just about to give her the retainer. And at the last second, my gut was like, I don't feel good about this. Well, the next day at the protest, one of her former clients comes to the protest and says, hey, you can use her and she may get you a settlement, but I know that she gets a kickback from the school district to mediate these things and so that they don't go to trial, which lined up with what this lawyer told me, that she didn't want to go to trial and that she preferred mediation, which I thought was odd because, again, we're talking about cruel and unusual punishment of a nonverbal autistic daughter. There's really no middle ground. So after doing a little research, I figured out how to write a complaint myself. And on January 12, 2024, I submitted this 106-page complaint against my daughter's school district and 25 other individuals who I found out were helping with the conspiracy of covering up the abuse against them for $564 million. Shortly after that, my case was sealed and it was dismissed because we did not have a lawyer. Now, very briefly, let me explain why this is stupid. Okay, number one, if children are required to have lawyers, children are the only class of people in the country that are not legally permitted to earn wages. If you require children to retain lawyers, you are requiring people who cannot earn money to have money before they enter the courtroom. So this is something called the council mandate, and across America, different district courts have different rulings about the council mandate. In the Second Circuit Court, they have determined that, hey, the council mandate isn't always good. In the Fifth Circuit, they've determined as the same thing, that, hey, a parent representing their child is the child and the parent going pro se, right? Every American has a right to represent themselves in court, and when a parent is defending their child, the child in that way is representing themselves pro se. But what arguments from this case that the reason why my case was dismissed, they're trying to argue that children have no right to represent themselves in court and that they must require legal representation, which again is self-defeating because children cannot earn wages. So what it does is it reinforces a two-tier justice system where the children of wealthy parents have rights and the children of poor parents do not have rights. So in March 2024, I submitted my appeal to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals explaining why parents should be able to represent their children in court. Also in March 2024, I had my custody rights taken away by this judge who also has represented the school district in the past and is a partner at the law firm of the in-house legal counsel for the school district. Fast forward to last Friday, and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the lower court's decision to dismiss my case. So now the only way that I can get my daughter justice is by filing a writ of certiorari, which basically is asking the United States Supreme Court to look at my case. And in order to do that, I need to raise at least $2,000 for all the printing and filing fees just to get a chance at the United States Supreme Court at hearing my case. Now, I have been fighting tooth and nail, posting about this case every day. I've done hundreds of videos. I've recorded a song, a music video, a manifesto. A lot of you guys know me on this account because of my manifesto. And after all that time, I've only raised $573. I will say this, and I will say this again. It is not that the United States of America doesn't have leaders. It's just people like me just don't get the support, and my daughter can't get the support. What I'm fighting for is for the opportunity for self-actualization. What I'm fighting for is to eliminate the two-tier justice system once and for all. If we are allowed to defend our children, then we can make this country a better place. But right now, I'm coming to you guys on my birthday asking for $2,000 so that I can continue to fight this case for my daughter. Any and everything you guys could contribute would help us out a lot. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this video.